Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. This is US Home Talk. We are live every Wednesday at noon and on demand at ushometalk.com or wherever you guys find your podcast. We're your hosts, Marcus Walgrave with the South Dakota Home Team, powered by Hague Realtors, Jason Walgrave with the Walgrave Real Estate Group at Remax Advantage Plus. I think Mike Overson's going to join us here with Luminate Home Loans later here this afternoon. And we'll be taking all you guys' questions during the show. Anything and everything real estate. Our call-in number is 612-234-7585. Again, 612-234-7585. Or leave us a message in the comments section on Facebook. Good afternoon, Jason. How are you doing today?
Good afternoon, Marcus. I'm doing fantastic. The sun's out. There's no wind. The fall crisp air. I'm loving it.
You know, obviously we got our superb producer, Evan Little, helping us out, making sure that U.S. Home Talk is second to none. Welcome, Evan. And, it's interesting, right? You guys don't have any wind up there. We got supposedly this big front coming in tonight, tomorrow. It's either the front has got to us first or it's just normal windy South Dakota. I don't know which one.
Dude, it's windy in South Dakota, man. I as you know, I went to NDSU, and so, a lot of drives. You go from Laverne to Sioux Falls, and then you drive, straight up the South Dakota and North Dakota border, all the way up to Fargo. But good grief, is it windy? The Great Plains.
The Great Plains. I think our father said that. It has a name, the Buffalo Ridge, or something of that nature, where it's extra windy when you're up on there. And I saw the weather because again, I think we're having this big front push through tonight. I think Sioux Falls area is supposed to get a couple inches of rain over the next 72 hours, and we have the 40 plus mile an hour wind gusts notification heads up, so it's gonna get windy. But speaking of, I was invited to do a football recruiting trip in high school, and up to Moorhead, and it was just one of those days. It was I think maybe late November, early December, and it was extra windy. Windy like normal, but a little extra windier that day. And I remember being out there, and I was like, I don't know about this. I think it might be too windy, too cold. I think I'm going to go eastbound and hide in those Mississippi River bluffs of La Crosse, Wisconsin. So
yeah, I think that was a good choice.
yeah, I think it was too. Yeah, don't regret it at all. We're gonna have a great show today, guys. We're gonna be talking about whether you should be building a new home or possibly considering a remodel, renovation of a purchase and or of your current house. So, I kind of reached out to you guys earlier this week and was like, hey, you know what? We're in the middle of October. We still have many very nice weeks ahead of us in terms of weather. I know our contractors see this time and say, hey, there's a lot of work that can get done, exterior work that can get done. And so there's still this chance of having this opportunity to move forward with a new construction here in 2023. And so it's just, but your days are numbered, right? I mean, we're kind of running short here. Not too often are you going to come across a builder that's going to say, I have no problem digging foundations and pouring concrete in January, February. The concrete technology has greatly improved in the last 10 years, right? I mean, they've come up with some new products, some additives to allow for construction 24/7, 365, even up here in the north. But, it's still kind of some new tech. I kind of get the feeling from builders. They say, yeah, we can do it. Not really ideal. Definitely going to be an additional cost to it. But in terms of pouring foundations in October and even, a good chunk of November, weather permitting, which a lot of Novembers can be beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
all the way up into early December. So there's definitely that chance to opportunity to move forward with new construction here still this fall of 2023.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's when you talk about new construction, many of the national builders, they've already got a lot of the homes not only started but completed. We've gotten a couple notifications in the last week with some of the national builders in the Twin Cities here that are offering. Marcus, you didn't believe this. I got one a couple days ago from a national builder. They're offering fixed 4.99% interest rate, mortgage interest rate on any of their completed spec homes if you sign close before the end of November. And so,
Wow.
that's a huge incentive, especially in today's world where those interest rates are a fair amount higher than 4.99. But if you're talking about starting new from the ground up, yeah, you've got maybe a month and a half to really get that base or that foundation in. Builders and consumers, what they like to do is they like to get the foundation in and get the majority of the framing done. So exterior walls, windows, and roof on before it does get really, really cold, whether that's end of December or into January. So once you've kind of got it all buttoned up and you've got the home sealed up, it makes it for a quicker process to continue to finish the home throughout the winter. I used to think before I got into real estate and new construction specifically, I used to think, who'd ever want to build a home in the winter? But what a builder had taught me early in my career is he said, Jason, the homes that we build in the winter months, they're a little bit tighter. The lumber and the materials have less moisture in them during the winter months because it's drier out, and so that home will be a tighter built home. So what does that mean? Less settling, less adjustments needed to cabinets and doors, less nail pops and sheetrock cracks. So there's definitely benefits to it, but today's topic, like Marcus mentioned, we're talking about should you build new, or should you stay and renovate the home that you have? And I think that they can be both really great options depending on what your individual family goals are. But let's dive a little deeper on, what it looks like to do either one of those.
Before we do that, Jason, you made a comment about the national builders and the incentive that they're offering right now up there in the Twin Cities area, and that to me, I interpret that type of incentive as one of two things. One, obviously, they're motivated to, like you said, get their products closed on the books for 2023, but also it also tells me that if they are in a position where they can be the financier, the mortgager, it tells me that they're in a pretty healthy financial position. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, it's if you're wondering, like, oh, hey, are these builders in a tight spot? Are they, looking to really struggle in the upcoming years? If they have enough cash to say, hey, we can be your mortgager, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty good sign that they're sitting pretty well, and that the future of the real estate market here in the U.S. is going to be very healthy for years to come.
Oh, nice of you to join us, Mr. Overson. How are you
It
today?
it's Mortgage Mike, as you can see from my name tag. Name
No
tag,
more
is that what it is? Is that what
the
it is?
mortgage.
Your timing is impeccable. We were just talking about builders, national builders specifically, offering these incredible mortgage rates. Almost all of them either have a very strong partnership with a mortgage company or they own a mortgage company. But there's other reasons why they might be able to offer rates so low when compared to what the rest of the market is. And Mike, would you enlighten us? We didn't interrupt your lunch by chance, did we?
No, I haven't had lunch yet, so everything I say is probably going to be wrong because my brain isn't functioning correctly right now. But no, I heard your last comment there about if these builders can provide this financing and stuff, they should be financially sound. They're not using their own money. They're just like every other lender out there. They're brokering these loans, or they're funding these loans with a line of credit, and then they're selling these loans on the secondary market. They're not holding this paper. They're not using their money. It's just like every other lender out there. Now, what they can do is, or what they have done is that just like every other lending company out there, if you're going to offer below market rates, there's a cost for that, right? There's discount points that need to be paid, right? So in the price of their homes, they have built in, hey, if we're going to offer 5.99 30-year fixed rate, it's going to cost 6 points to get there. We have the 6 points built into the price of the house because we know we're going to pay that out in order to get that particular client that interest rate. So what they can do is what's called a forward commitment. So some of these companies do a forward commitment. So as they watch interest rates fluctuate up and down, right? If they can catch it on a down slope, right? So let's say they catch it where the actual rate is 7%. Okay. To buy a rate from 7% down to 5.99 is a lot cheaper than to buy the interest rate down when rates are at 7.75, buying it down to 5.99, right? So what they do is they'll look at the wave, right? Okay, interest rates are waving like this. When the interest rates are down, what they're going to do is they're going to go borrow or grab $5 million or $10 million worth of money at the lower interest rate. So now we have $10 million that we have set aside that's only going to cost us 3 discount points to get the rate down to 5.99 versus 6 points to get it down to 5.99. And we're basically going to offer these incentives until that $10 million runs out. Once that $10 million runs out, money's gone, right? And then we got to decide, okay, do we still offer the 5.99? If so, we're going to be paying 6 points, 6% of the purchase price toward buying that rate down. Or do we just reset, go back to normal, watch the wave, and if we get another down wave, then we'll block another $10 million worth of money off at the lower interest rate and then offer the incentive again. So
it's kind of like they're pre-borrowing money, or they're optioning, money when it's at a lower rate.
Right. They're borrowing money, when it's the cheapest to borrow.
Yeah.
So they can then offer the type of incentive or pass those savings on, right? Pass those savings on to the clients in hopes to get more inventory moved. So, and the more inventory they want to move, then the juicier these deals are going to get, right? The juicier they're going to get so they can get this inventory moved and stop paying the interest. Because if they take that $10 million line out, right? So if they do that forward commitment and they take that $10 million out now, they're paying juice on that 10 million.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So until they lend that 10 million out, they're paying the interest on it and stuff. So it's in their best interest to move that product, eat up that 10 million sooner than later, because now that client is going to be paying the interest versus the builder.
Sure.
And they can kind of protect their pricing as well. A builder doesn't want to be building one house for $1 million in 2022 and then the same house, building that one for $950. They want to be able to, in a sense, either maintain their pricing or ideally maybe even increase it. So this could be something to where then they could go ahead and like you said, might build that into the price. Maybe it did only cost them $900,000 to build it, but because they built in these points into it, now there's they're asking $1,050,000, something of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And so it comes down to too, as building costs go up and down. So that's another thing to look at, because to your point, Marcus, if I have a 2023 model, right, that I'm trying to sell here, and I'm building the exact same thing, that's going to be our 2024 model here coming up, and it's literally the exact same house in a same or similar development, and it's like the 2023 model costs $1 million, the 2024 model costs $900,000. Well, who's going to buy the older model, an existing model at $1 million when you're going to get the exact same thing that's brand new for $100,000 less over here, right?
Yeah.
So it's a tricky thing with builders, because especially as building costs go up and down, right? It's like they might truly be $1 million into that model that they have now, that they might have to take a bath on, $100,000 bath on, and cut it just to get rid of it, because they can build that same exact house cheaper, and no one's going to pay $1 million for that house over there if they can build a brand new one over here for $9 million. Right. So it gets a little goofy on their end too. I mean, it's a position that I wouldn't really want to be in as far as the builders go on, what does it cost to build our house? What can we sell them for? This and that, especially in this type of market, because you get your customers are going to compare what they can get in an existing model or existing spec now versus what they could build the exact same house for. And you got to play that that game with them too a little bit.
Yep.
We're talking cost, right? I mean, it's when you look at new construction is going to be the most expensive option that you have out there. Buying a home and then renovating it is going to be likely to be the second most expensive option. And then just simply renovating your existing home, not selling it, just staying there and renovating, what you need to do in that. It will likely be the most cost effective for that. So when you kind of look at those two or those three options, it's when you're considering new construction, buying something, renovating it, or simply just keeping what you have and renovating it. If you're on a budget, you'll definitely want to sit down and look at those options. And the interesting thing is you can finance a lot of that stuff. I mean, Mike, I know you guys have products where you can buy a pre-existing home with the option of renovating it, before you even move into it.
Yeah. Yeah, there are options out there for that. There's construction loans that will let you do anything, right? If you want to take the thing down to the studs, right? So, and want to, go in there and completely redo everything, you can do that. There's renovation loans where, we're not going to let you take it down to the studs. We're not going to let you do this, but you can do cosmetic stuff, and if that's all you want to do to it, then you could do kind of like a standard 30-year fixed renovation loan if you want to, and get additional funds to do more cosmetic type of thing. So really depends on what you're looking to do to the house. And the amount of work and the scope of work is going to dictate which type of loan options, you're going to have to choose from.
We kind of look at this new construction, like we were talking about how with new construction, there are loan products out there where you can do like a 12-month rate lock. And that can be appealing to some people who are concerned about what the rates are going to do and say, you know what, I'm comfortable with the bid that I got from my contractor. I feel like contractors are more confident in the stability of material costs. Everybody's pretty certain that labor is going to continue to go up, but nothing that's extravagant to where it's going to blow up a bid amount. But when you have that, you might, if somebody's like, hey, I got a feeling, my gut tells me that rates are going to be 9.5 in the next 9 months from today. It's like, well, there are some new construction loans where you can lock today's rate or close to it, maybe today's rate plus a quarter point, and that's going to be good until the 12-month mark.
Yeah, going out 12 months on the extended rate locks is a little bit more than a quarter adjustment. There, here at Luminate, we got two options when it comes to extended rate locks like that. We do have your standard 30-year fixed extended rate lock. So how that works is you take today's 60-day rate lock rate, and if you want to lock on 120 days out, you just add 0.1% to it. Okay. If you want to lock 180 days out, you add 1/4 to it. If you want to lock 270 days out, you add 3/4 to it. And if you want to lock 360 days out, which is a full year, you add 1% to the interest rate of what it is today. So that's what you're locking in at. So let's say your rate is 7.5 today, and you want to do a 360-day rate lock on that 30-year fixed. You're going to be locking in at 8.5%. So you're guaranteed. Your worst case scenario is you're going to close at 8.5%. Now, once you get within 30 days of closing, you get one chance to float that rate down. So you're locked at 8.5. You get within 30 days of closing. Let's say rates at that point are at 6.5. Well, then you get to float your rate down to 6.5, and you close at 6.5. Right. So that's the advantage of the extended rate locks. It's not like you're locking in at a sexy interest rate, because we got to take these adjustments, right? Because a year from now, what are rates going to be? You guys don't know. We don't know. We're just be like, I don't know. So we're taking the risk that rates aren't going to go more than 1% higher than where they're at in the next 360 days. Because we will guarantee you that, in my example, that we'll close you at 8.5%, even if rates are at 10% at that point. We'll close you at the 8.5% that you locked in at. Now, if rates are lower, we'll give you that benefit. We'll drop the interest rate down to where they were at, but you got to be within 30 days of closing. So that's option number one. Option number two is we have an internal 7-year arm, called it a hybrid fixed, but it's a 7-year arm. We lock that for 300 days, and we can do that at 5.99 right now. So the advantage of this one is that we lock you on that 300-day rate lock on a 7-year arm. So it's still a 30-year loan, so you get 30 years to pay it off, but your rate is locked for the first 7 years. It goes adjustable after that. You're locked in at 5.99. So now we get to qualify you at 5.99. we don't qualify you at the 8.5 on my previous example, because that could be what you end up closing at. So we have to qualify you at 8.5. We qualify you at 599, because worst case scenario is you're going to close at 599. Now, if 30-year fixed rates go down, once we get within 30 days of closing again, we can drop you to a 30-year fixed if we want to for no cost. So you lock in at 599 now on this 7-year arm, right? You get 300 days rate lock on it. Once we get closer to closing, let's say 30-year fixed rates go to 6%. Well, now you can just jump off the 599 7-year arm, lock on the 30-year fixed at 6%, and you're closing on the 30-year at 6%.
Wow, that's a great program. I really like that program a lot.
So it's the best thing out there for sure, that I don't see any other places in the marketplace doing that. The reason why we can offer it is because we are a bank now. And so our bank is going to hold that loan. So if we close on the 599 7-year arm, we're going to hold that loan on our books. We're going to service it. But if 30-year fixed rates get better, or 15-year fixed, whatever you want, if fixed rates come down between now and closing, you get to take the advantage of that and move to a fixed rate option.
Now, Jason, I think you guys just finished up the fall parade of homes. We did a couple weeks ago as well. One thing that we do have something going on here in the Sioux Empire is the showcase of remodeled homes. It's an event that our Home Builders Association of the Sioux Empire hosts every year after the fall parade, which is kind of nice because it allows people who are thinking about doing a remodel, they can go ahead and go out and see these projects that are in progress, or maybe the ones that just had been finished here recently. Go there, get ideas, have a chance to talk to some of the local contractors that are working on this. And as we all know, a lot of our contractors, they like doing these remodel jobs during the winter months. When they have a chance to say, okay, well, the winter months are our season for renovations and remodeling interior parts of homes. And so this could be a really good time to either pass on that new construction and purchase a pre-existing, or simply just using the home that you have and look at doing a remodel job over these winter months.
Yeah, we just, one of our, of course, fantastic show partners is Pebble Creek Custom Homes. They had, 2 weekends ago, so this coming weekend, go back 2 weekends, it was the Remodelers Showcase Tour. And so that was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday parade of remodeled homes. Same thing as you guys, Marcus. It was the weekend after that the parade of homes had ended. And so what Pebble Creek had done for customers is they had a house on Prior Lake. A really fantastic rambler. The lot just spectacular, right? So location on the water, it's it's everywhere that you want to be as far as location. The home was actually a beautiful home, a lot of dark cherry, kind of a more traditional Victorian feel throughout. But these particular homeowners, they were looking for something really different, modern and bright and open. And so Pebble Creek Custom Homes came in and they did an extensive remodel on this home. I mean, we're talking nearly 7-figure remodel on the home. And it is, it feels like a brand new home because nearly everything is brand new. But to see that transformation from what it was into what it is today, it's completely different. The floor plan, everything in the kitchen, the entire home is redone. But, that was an example of the homeowners loved the location. They loved the neighborhood. They loved it, being on the lake. They just didn't love the house. And so they did a full remodel. It is spectacular. And this is probably, a very long-term home for them. They'll be there for a very long time. But it was really, remodel is exciting because it's, you get to see what it is now, and then you get to see that transformation into what it can and is going to be. And that's a lot of fun. Remodels are a lot of fun to be a part of.
Maybe not so much if you have to live in the house while it's being remodeled. But I tell you what, So
Agree.
so my wife and I, Jen, we didn't do like a huge remodel, but we did do flooring, cabinets, stuff like that at our old house, and we lived there during it.
Oh, I remember.
It sucks while you're going through it, right? But at the end, it was well worth it. We were just talking
Yeah.
about that. It's like, all right, that was certainly worth it doing all that to the house because the end product was amazing. And so it's one of those things where that's like the only downside of a remodel if you have to kind of live there and just work around the construction. But tell you what,
Yeah.
you ask anyone that's done it, it's worth it in the end for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to see that transformation. What some homeowners will do if they're doing a full, let's say you've got a 2-story with a basement, maybe it's a walkout basement, and they don't have somewhere else to go. They'll come in and they'll say, okay, builder remodeler, we want to do the whole thing. We got to do it in stages. We're gonna have you start in the basement. We're gonna plastic off the basement, seal it up, all the vents and everything best we can. Do the basement first, and then we're gonna go do the upstairs because the basement's done, so we got a bedroom down there now. Now you do the upstairs, and then the main floor, which is gonna be the most painful to endure if you're still living there, 'cause that's where your kitchen and everything is. But you can do it in stages. It is if you're going to be living, these particular homeowners, they moved out, so they were out. This was like to the studs remodel, so they had to move out anyway. But and it gets harder, much harder if you have little kids. So, if you've got, kids under, 3 years old, you better just find someone else to live for a while.
You ship them off to your grandparents. Make it a little vacation out of it.
Yeah.
All right.
Going to the farm, kids.
Yep.
For 3 months.
For 3 months. Hope you like it.
If you are kind of thinking about doing that remodel renovation path, yes, Jason's example of a couple spending almost 7 figures, that's not necessarily the most common dollar amount spent on a renovation. But if you are thinking about that, make sure that you are having a conversation with your real estate professional and just say, hey, we definitely want to remodel the master bathroom. It's something that we just didn't really like. But if we're going to get somebody in there, can you come over and maybe give us some other ideas in terms of like what would be a really good return on our investment? Should we do maybe a little updating in the kitchen? Maybe we should do both bathrooms on the main level. If you're gonna have that remodel project on your schedule, don't hesitate to reach out to the professionals too and just say, hey, do you guys have any maybe some additional ideas on what we could do, to better this process? I mean, if you're going to be vacating your home for 60, 90 days or however long it might be, or coexist with the contractor, in the basement or however it's set up, I'm sure everybody would agree that you definitely, this is one of those situations that you want to try to finish on one take. You don't want to have to come back in 2 years or 3 years and have to do it over again. So there's definitely some areas where you're going to see a really nice return on investment. Like I said, kitchens, baths, things of those nature.
Yep, agree.
One thing also to kind of keep in mind when you are considering your remodel or renovation is, when Jason, you brought up kids, right? And is this something that's motivating you because you need some more space? And the question you may need to just consider in terms of maybe we should just do new construction is, are you certain that your family isn't going to grow even larger? Again, we don't want to be doing these projects and then in 3-4 years being like, shoot, we really should have just done a new construction because we're in the same boat we were, when we decided to do the remodel. We've ran out of space once again. And then,
Yep.
now you're going into the conversation. Okay, can we add an addition to the property? And so, I mean, think of the short-term goals, but also be subconscious of your long-term goals as well. Yes, new construction may be the more expensive project on paper today, but if you really sit down and look at your situation, if we can avoid having to do 2-3 remodels or remodel in an addition, maybe it was a better option just to go new construction in 2023.
Yeah, I think that's a great point, Marcus. You got to ask yourself, how long are we going to be there? What are our current needs? What are our likely future needs? Does this footprint of the house that we're in, will it be able to meet or satisfy those future needs? And if it doesn't, then maybe look at some new construction. And again, when you got some pretty crazy builder incentives out there, look, we love new construction. I mean, the beautiful thing about new construction is it's new, right? And so you have limited maintenance or repair items that are going to come up in probably the first 8 to 10 years of owning that home. So you might have an existing home, but then if you're going to do some remodeling on it, okay, let's take a look at some other things. How old are the windows? How old is the roof? How old is the furnace, and so on and so forth. And so fast forwarding 5 or 10 years, are there going to be additional maintenance costs for keeping that existing home, even though you're doing the remodel on it? Or do you just, do new construction now and get that bigger house or smaller house? Maybe you're downsizing. Maybe you don't need the big house anymore. And so, I think you bring up a great point, Marcus. Important to identify today's needs and what the future's likely needs are, and then make a decision based on that.
And obviously, a lot of these options can be done through financing too. Obviously, with new construction, there's financing products. Buying existing and remodeling it, there's some products out there for that too. So make sure you're reaching out to your finance guy, your mortgage guy. Obviously, if you don't have one, reach out to Mortgage Mike. He'll definitely help you out. Him and his team are exceptional. So, I'd say when we do kind of look at new construction, in my opinion, one of the best features of new construction is that you get to start from scratch if you want to. Mm-hmm. You don't have to work with the foundation that you have. You can choose the foundation. However you want it to be. You don't have to think about, okay, is this something that we need to maybe, add an addition to. You can just put that that section onto the property during the planning phase of new construction. So that to me is a big perk for new construction. You can really sit down and say, okay, are we going to try to build a forever home, aka a 20-year home? Because it seems like forever homes, they're never forever. But it is something where you can say, hey, we know what we got going on in the next 10 to 20 years. Let's build a home to satisfy those needs, and you can really achieve those goals. And you can be very time sensitive too. You always hear of builders and realtors talk about timeless features of a home. And if that's something where you're like, I just don't want, let's do new construction, but let's avoid, having to do any major remodel jobs. Let's pick some features throughout the home that just are timeless. Doesn't matter if it's in 2023 or in 2043, it's still going to be liked by the vast majority of the people out there. And you can take that approach to new construction too.
Some examples of that would be honey oak and shiny brass fixtures.
Absolutely.
Love it.
Just deck your house out with as much of that as you can. Absolutely.
Marcus, you had that look on your face like, are you serious right now?
I'm thinking to myself, yeah, I tell you what, you talked about that cherry, that dark woodwork. And that was like a phase, right? I mean, it kind of seemed like 2000 to 2002 to 2006. It was like everybody wanted to rock that.
Cherry.
I'll take that light oak any day over the dark cherry. So, but yeah, I hear you. There's definitely some new construction features that are going on right now where you're like, hey, it's in now. But don't be surprised in 20 years, people are like, ooh, I don't like that.
One of the things too that I really noticed when we built our new house. So our old house was a 1986 build. Our new house is a 2016 build, right? So you got 30 years difference there. One of the biggest thing I noticed was just the efficiencies with utilities. And it's from top to bottom too, right? So we went up 1,000 square feet from our old house to our new house. Our new house is 1,000 square feet more. Our utility bills are less with 1,000 more square feet.
Whoa.
Right? So you're talking about your HVAC, you're talking about air conditioning, the insulation in the walls, the level of windows that you have, things like that. But also think about this, you know, all your appliances, right? All your appliances today in that brand new house, I guarantee they're all Energy Star rated, right? Your fridge today that you buy, that you get in that new construction house, is going to run at about a third of the cost of a fridge that's, you know, 12 to 15 years old, 10 years old even.
Yeah.
You know, so then you have, just think of all the appliances, washers, dryers, you know, air exchangers, all that stuff. You get efficiencies across the board with a brand new house. And so you're going to get some additional savings there too by going new construction versus a remodel. Because on a remodel, I mean, how many people, and you might be doing windows, maybe windows is part of it, but you know, how many people are redoing insulation and windows as part of a remodel?
Not that often.
Not that often, right? You know,
Yeah.
you're doing the cosmetic stuff, so like you're going to enjoy the house more and it's going to look great and stuff. But you're not gaining any efficiencies that you might get, you know, going the new construction route.
Yep.
New construction, renovation, remodeling, if those are kind of some conversations that you're having, you know, we are in the middle of October. There's still a chance that you guys can move forward with a new build here, especially if you've already purchased a lot and you know you already have that in your back pocket, obviously, or a piece of land as well. You know, but if it is something, you know, that we may want to push out until spring, obviously you definitely want to start having those conversations today. You definitely want to talk to your contractors here sooner than later. I'd be surprised if there are many that have any more availability here this winter, you know, for a remodel renovation, just because we're getting so close to the winter months. But and most importantly, I think what you guys need to do is just simply bring in your realtor, bring in your mortgage person, and have the conversations. You know, talk about numbers, talk about the plan, your goals, and let these other individuals add some additional insight with what you're trying to achieve, and that can definitely increase your information and allow you to make the most educated decision for you and your family. So guys, as our show comes to an end today, we want to thank you all for taking your time to tune in live and to support US Home Talk. As always, you guys can find our show and all of our past shows as well on ushometalk.com or wherever you guys find your podcasts. This is Marcus Walgrave, Jason Walgrave, and Mike Overson. We hope you guys have a blessed week.